Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about finding the volume of three-dimensional figures, specifically prisms and pyramids. So first we're going to focus on prisms. So up at the top it says to find the volume of any right prism, multiply the area of the base by the height. Now when we find the volume of any three-dimensional figure, we need to remember that our units should be cubed. So when we find area, they're squared, volume, they're going to be cubed. All right, so let's take a look at our first example. So the first example, that is a figure, the name of that figure would be a triangular prism. Once again, prisms and pyramids get their names by the shape of their base, so this one has triangular bases. All right, so the shape of the base then is a triangle. When we find the area of a triangle, remember we do base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to do 10 times 10 and divide by 2, and I would get 50 as my area. The height of the prism is the distance between those two bases, so that's going to be 25. So then to put it all together and calculate the volume, I'm going to take 50 and multiply by 25, and I get 1,250, and my units would be centimeters cubed. Okay, the next one, so we have a rectangular prism. Okay, and so since it's a rectangular prism, our base is a rectangle. So when we're finding the volume of a rectangular prism, you simply find the area of the base. In this case, it would be 6 times 3, which is 18. Okay, and then I'm going to take 18 and I'm going to highlight the height. Sorry, I was one step ahead. So the height of the prism is 4 centimeters. And now I'm going to take 18 and multiply by 4. And I would get 72 centimeters cubed. All right, moving on. We have a couple more before we move on to pyramids. So the next one, when we are looking at this figure, we're looking at another rectangular prism. Okay, the shape of the base, once again, is a rectangle. The area of the base, so I'm going to say that the base is the one on the bottom, so 5 times 8 would give me 40. The height of the prism would be 4, so then the volume would be 40 times 4, which gives me 160, and that would be centimeters cubed. All right, the last prism. So now we're looking at a triangular prism. Okay, so this triangular prism has a triangle for a base, obviously, because we are getting the name from the shape of the base. The area of the base, so I know that the height the base and the height of my triangle is going to be 6 and 8, so I'm going to take 6 times 8 and then divide by 2. So that gives me 24 units for my base, or centimeters squared, because that's area. The height of the prism, again, the distance between those two triangles would be 12. So the volume then, we would take 24, multiply by 12, and we would get 288 centimeters cubed. All right, so now we transition to talking about pyramids. Okay, so the formula that we are going to be using for the pyramids is slightly different from the prisms. So when we see the capital letter B in a formula specifically for volume, that's going to represent the area of the base. So I want you to make a note of that and make sure that you know that capital B means the area of the base. So we're going to take the area of the base, multiply it by the height, and then divide by 3, and that will give you the volume of your pyramid. So looking at number 1, so we have a square base, so we're going to take 6 times 6, and we know that that's going to give me 36. But I would do 6 times 6, which is the base, times the height, which is 8. And I'm going to divide all of that by 3. Okay? Now, if I multiply straight across, I get 288 divided by 3. And then when I do that division, I would get 96 feet cubed. All right, so then for the next one, I'm going to take my base and height of the base to calculate the area. So I have 3 times 3. The height of my pyramid is 5. And then I'm going to divide by 3. 3 times 3 times 5 gives me 45. And then I'm going to divide by 3. 45 divided by 3 gives me 15 meters cubed. And then the last one. So we have a pyramid here. So we do 6 times 6, which is the area of our base, times the height, which is 5, divided by 3. And so that's going to give us a grand total of 180 divided by 3. And then when we do that division, we would get 60 meters cubed for our volume. Now you might be wondering why we're dividing by 3 for a pyramid, and just so you know, the relationship between a pyramid and a prism is that a pyramid is 1/3 of the volume of a prism. So when we divide by 3, we're accounting for that difference in the volumes. So essentially 3 pyramids could fit into one similarly sized prism. So that's just something that you need to know if you're looking for a reason on why we have the formula that we do. All right, if you have any questions, please make sure you make note of those in your WISC, and then we will see you tomorrow.